Zambia Broad Talk Radio.
And I think as Zambians we have to make that extremely clear that when we raise the issue of appointments and the way they are going and our constitutional provisions, it should never ever be about attacking our brothers or seeing them as the ones benefiting. Because when you look at national development, you cannot claim that Northern Province has received any more development than other regions. It is not true that Luapula has received. In fact, I was in Luapula. Luapula doesn't even have industrial grade power, you see, because they can't even set up manganese processing plants in Luapula right now because Luapula doesn't have industrial grade power. You know, the same can be said of Muchinga. Muchinga, if you go to Chinsadi, the infrastructure is very insufficient. That is the same for Eastern Province as well. So these regions have not necessarily gotten any more development than any other place. The people in these regions have not gotten any more favors, the people on the ground. What is happening is it is the elite who are in the appointments are doing it in a way that is sending a very dangerous signal, and that we must deal with. Now, coming to the issue of development, the issue of development, in my view, we have had a huge problem, and I've always said this, I'll say it again, of corruption. And that is the issue that all of us from all regions have seen. It is something that I think when it comes to issues of corruption, whether it's by former leaders or current leaders, it's a problem that we have to address. Our national pace is very small. We had the FIC reporting that at one point I did an analysis of their reports. In 3 years, we had corrupt transactions that went up to $800 million. This is a country whose reserves is about 1.1 billion.
Exactly.
You see? So now if you have those kind of leakages and then you want to build, even at a household level, you cannot build an economy or you cannot build your household pace when you haven't first fixed the leakages. You haven't looked at your expenditure level on the expenditure side, stopped the excessive, wasteful, and unnecessary expenditure before you start building up your reserves. And that's our problem. How can our people in Northern Province, our people in Luapula, our people in Western, Northwestern or Southern access real development when instead of buying an ambulance at $50,000, we are buying the same ambulance at $288,000. And this is one ambulance, and our friends from Sweden embarrassed us as a country. Because after it was announced that these ambulances were bought at $288,000 by our government using a middleman, the Swedish government announced that they had donated the same spec of ambulance at $50,000. How can our nation develop and take development to these areas when we are buying fire tenders at $1 million a piece?
Okay.
You know? And you're spending $42 million on fire tenders when we know that the total amount that was spent to bring them in is $3.5 million, and you even go an extra mile and waive taxes on those procurements. You know, and the list goes on and on and on.
And on and on.
Now we are dealing with honeybee.
Oh, that is, like I say, it is another a can of.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, State Council, when I said, is everything okay? Nathan, if you are able to come in, please come in. Our connections have been tricky. I thought State Council is our guinea pig. We are trying on him, but next time we'll be okay. I hope it comes and you will. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yes, excellent. State Council Mwenya, it's good to have you on the show. I was telling my colleague here that we've been trying to get you to come on via Dr. Mlenga in South Africa. I'm glad it has worked out this time around. And
thank you.
We're good. Yeah, we're glad to have you. I have two questions for you. Number one, how do we create a balance on the argument of tribal balancing in a nation which has experienced intermarriages over the past, from the time we've been independent, if you wish to say so? We have people with Bemba names, with a combination of Lozi and the Bemba name. You have Bembas who have grown up in Western Province. You have Lozis who have grown up in Eastern Province, things like that, of that nature. So I may carry a Tonga name, and yet I'm not really pure Tonga, so to speak. I know everybody understands what I mean by that. How do we not exaggerate this argument of tribal balancing in a country with such a scenario? My second question is, I was listening to one of your video clips where you were arguing to say, rightly saying, civil servants need to account for the wealth that they accumulate, where somebody, you rightfully said, you need to explain how you have acquired a Range Rover when your income from your job as a civil servant doesn't agree with the assets that you have. Do you think that we probably need to consider making into law Dr. Kaunda's leadership code? Would that help? I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, let me start. Thank you so much. I'm assuming this is Pastor Nathan Kama.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's good to hear from you, sir. Now let me start with the issue of tribal balancing. What, in fact, perhaps when we use the word tribal balancing, we may even misrepresent it slightly. I think the correct way to look at it is regional balancing. The names, yes, there have been several intermarriages. I personally married, for lack of a better word, here in Zambia, we use the word I'm colored, in inverted commas. I am from two regions, but my wife is from the north. She's a Mambwe from Bala. You see, so my kids are all sorts of quotas. Now, but that notwithstanding, these sentiments are still there. We should not, if we had intermarried enough, if we had gotten to a level where our regional and tribal identities have now completely disappeared, then we shouldn't have had the problem we have now. Because the fact of the matter is, you hear people in the ruling party saying that Southerners are tribal and that they only vote for people from their area, in inverted commas. You hear Southerners saying the North, the North is accusing the Northerners of saying someone has issued a statement that it's a no-go area for anyone from the South. I have seen myself ministers campaigning on tribal grounds, saying that no Tonga should come here and campaign and get a seat in the North. Those things are there on the ground. So the issue, I think, is to be honest enough to identify that the problem exists. And then we must resolve it. How do we resolve it? By being deliberate in sending the correct message. It's like affirmative action. You who are in the Western world there know that when the Western government saw that women, for example, are being sidelined. There was a deliberate policy to have women employment increased, and that was the affirmative action. You have affirmative action with the African Americans or even Africans in other, or black people in other countries. But what we have to have here is a decision to regionally balance all appointment. And fortunately, as recent as 2016, a constitution that was drafted and passed by the current government recognizes that issue. So it was recognized enough that it was actually enshrined in our constitution that that ought to be done. It is a current problem, which was actually, as recent as 2016, recognized by a constitutional enactment. So we must attend to it. So to shorten the answer is that we haven't intermarried enough to completely wipe out regional and tribal identities. They are still there. And the fact that there is actions that are being seen as skewed to some regions is causing problems, and we should resolve it. Yeah. Now, coming to the other issue you raised, I don't think we should have a leadership code. And the reason I say that is because it may work to discourage well-meaning business people from joining the government. Okay, those who have worked hard on their own and who have made money on their own and have skills. For example, some of you may be business people in the US, there, UK, Canada, and anywhere else. And we say that would be a good minister of commerce. Can we ask you to come here and work for the time for your people? What a leadership code in the Kaunda style does is to discourage you from participating in. But however, if the leadership code we are going to coin answers to the modern needs now, then yes, we can go to that route. But the principle is simple. Everyone who has worked or works in government should not be afraid to account for their wealth. I have always said this. I was Solicitor General first. I became Attorney General. Why should I be afraid of being asked what I had before, what I acquired when I was in government, and how come I have what I have now? If I haven't stolen, if my wealth is not as a result of corruption, why should I be afraid? We have seen instant millionaires in this country who all of a sudden become business geniuses when they're in government. They have never run a single thing in their lives. They have never successfully done any business or even feathered themselves in a formal employment. But immediately they get into government, they become instant millionaires. And when they leave, poverty comes in a few years later. Now, how do you explain that? You know, how exactly do you explain the fact that you have that phenomenon? So the only explanation is that there is abuse of government officers. We are a poor country, which has slipped on the TIZ Corruption Perception Index, and we continue to go down. I'll tell you something, and a lot of people ask me this: what did you do yourselves when you were in government? How did you attend to it? I was requested by the late President Michael Sata, may his soul rest in peace, in 2011 to join his government. And one of the issues I discussed with him when I was being asked is that if I were to occupy a watchdog role like the one he had given me, then I should be given, me and my colleagues, free rein to fight corruption. And he told me that is exactly why I'm bringing you in, because you're strong enough to say no. I must say, I enjoyed working with him because he encouraged us to fight corruption. There was one or two instances when he misspoke and made people uncomfortable about what he said. And internally, we raised those issues. But generally, President Sata sent a consistent message about corruption. 2012, I was sworn in 2011, December. 2012, we enacted the Anti-Corruption Act, brought back the Abuse of Authority of Office clause. 2013, you may be interested to know, we are the ones who operationalized the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC. We gave it funding, we made sure it was staffed, and that it started working.
Wonderful.
You know, we also made sure that when a minister was accused of financial impropriety and was actually prosecuted, they were fired. And we brought that to the president's attention. Unfortunately, he acted in accordance to the advice he was given. And we saw a lot of that. Ronald Chitete that was fired. Rogers Mwera, the late, may his soul rest in peace, was fired. There was even a young permanent secretary who had a big party with fireworks and so on. I think she had it on a Saturday. By Tuesday, she was asked to go and enjoy her wealth because we are saving poor people. You can't be showing so much wealth, and if you have so much money, go and enjoy it. So I think the message was strong. It was consistent, and because of that, in 2012, we scored the highest corruption perception rose to 37, and in 2013 and 2014 we hit that record. Our 38, and I think that is something that made me and my colleagues quite proud. So I still reiterate the fact that we must account for our wealth. That's the only way to fight. People should know that when they leave power, or when they leave office, or even as they are in office, they'll be asked questions as to how they are driving expenses, living in mansions, and having a lifestyle where sending families all over the world for medical treatment, complete with bodyguards paid for and so on. Where is this money coming from? In a country where people exchange, some people eat today, at lunchtime, others eat supper tomorrow in the same household. You can't eat all the meals the same day. We have problems that we must resolve. And every dollar, every kwacha must be saved from going into people's pockets.
Well said. We'll spend the last 10 minutes being hopeful, State Council here. I've always told my friends I grew up in Kitwe, where actually back in the day, State Council, when I was growing up, I thought people from Malawi Malawi was a city in Zambia, because there were so many of them in Mindolo. To my left, south we are from Tanzania, north Vanakabungo, everywhere, and we lived well. Question: how do we begin to have a wonderful discussion where you hear Tonga, it's not a toxic thing you are hearing. If you hear Bemba, it's not a toxic. We begin to celebrate ourselves. How do we lift ourselves at this stage, State Council?
No, I think, you see, our people have no problem. At the local level, at the domestic level, we have no problem with each other. And I tell people, why is it that in love, we don't have these problems? When I saw my wife, I didn't ask, which region do you come from?
My wife is from Luapula, by the way.
Exactly. I just saw this woman, I said, she's beautiful. That is something that looks appealing to me. Yeah. I probably knew about Mbala and everything 4 months after we had started talking.
Yeah.
Now, if in love we don't talk about this, why is it that we are talking about it in politics? And the only answer is that this is a politically motivated issue. It's not an issue of our people. It is being funded by people who want to benefit politically by dividing us. And that's why those of us who are well-meaning must sound the alarm, so that those who are funding it know that we know, and we're not interested to participate in this machination that just divide us, you know? Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't think, even now when you go in the communities, you don't see this. But those in authority and sometimes in government offices fund this kind of divisions. I'll tell you a story. I have a close friend of mine. He is Tonga, and we went to school together. He met me one day and he says, look, I'm very sad about what is happening. So I asked what was the problem. He says, my auntie, who is an old woman from the village, came to visit for a funeral, and in the funeral, someone stole something from her. So we went, I got her into my car, and we went to a nearby police station to report this issue. Now, because she's an old Tonga woman from the village, she could only speak Tonga coherently. So she was talking to me in Tonga, and I was interpreting it to the police officer. And this police officer had the guile to say, not if you're Fitundomuno. How? How does an officer of the state talk like that? You know, and it's only the people who occupy some of these, and I don't think that is even a proper police officer, because our police are very professional. Most of our police officers, if you recall, in the olden days, when they even speak, they would speak with a somewhat Lilai Tonga accent, if you remember,
Yes.
or even Aussie accent.
Yes.
So our police officers are not that intolerant. These are the new people who may have been infused, who don't even have proper training. But this is something that is being now trying to be pushed down by people who don't know any better. It is not us. As Zambians, we are not that kind of way. And locally, we don't even know these issues. So that's why well-meaning people like yourself and myself should highlight these issues, not because we harbor any ill will against our leaders. We do it out of love. It is a warning. It is the advice that, look, when you appoint people, don't that we are disunited when we are in fact not disunited. You know, we are united people. At local level, we are cohesive. But the more that our leaders fan these flames, the more the disunity will come.
Exactly.
And we must now so that it doesn't crop in.
Wow. Wow. Lastly, I took this from your Facebook article 259, subsection 2 of our constitution requires regional balancing in appointments and nomination. There is a good reason, you said, for this. Is there a legal recourse, State Council, to this problem?
Yes, there is legal recourse. There is actions that people who feel they may have been discriminated against can take to enforce those articles. But even before we get there to legal recourse, we must hope that our leaders will see that this is not necessarily a legal issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a national issue that should be attacked from a national point, because you know the problem with law, you have winners and losers. We can't have that in this debate.
No.
You know, it is a question about
I like that.
all of us winning, you know, and hoping that we can convince those who are listening that this is the right way to go. There is no need for any of these kind of things, because we have seen it. We look at board appointments, they seem to be one way. We look at any appointment, you can almost predict when someone is fired, the replacement, you can tell where they're coming from. You know, and I think that even the people who are being appointed, some of our brothers who we have spoken to, they understand that this is a problem. I have had a lot of discussions with friends who are from the East. I have had a lot of discussions from friends in the Northern region. They also know that this is not proper, because it doesn't serve any of us, you know, because we are one Zambia, we are one nation, and we are one people. We've always been.
We've always been one people. State Council, I'm not sure how to thank you if I speak in my, is it Kopala language? I'm not sure how to thank you, but we are very, very grateful. And we, like you have rightly said, some of us who are well informed, we should continue to push this issue. because going along with it, it is a dangerous practice to have. Thank you, State Council, for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and all the very best. Cheers.
Thank you. So, Nathan, there you are. I hope you got something there. You are convinced. He's challenging us that we who what did you say? What did he say? We who are
well-meaning,
we should take a lead into this thing as we
Yes.
transition to Anakazi. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yes, it's important because you see that's why I even raised the issue of what's the word? Okay, before I get to my point there, I like what he says when he says instead of us saying tribal balancing, we should be saying regional balancing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is very important. That's a very key point.
Okay.
Regional balancing, language. We need to change the language and how we, the things that we say and how we address this issue. I think it's very important because if you say tribal, there's been a lot of intermarriage, and like I said, there are people, Bembas, who have grown up in Western Province all their lives. You may have a Bemba name, but you probably speak more fluent Lozi than you even probably speak Bemba. You see that kind of situation?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Like the example he gave that he didn't even know that his wife was from Northern Province until probably, 4 or 5 months into the relationship. Those things didn't matter to us. And, you just start hearing about these tribal things when the politicians come into the picture. They need to stop it. They need to stop it,
Well said. We are on the hour, and welcome to Zambia Block Talk Radio. My name is Roger, here in Okotoks, code Canada country. We're now crossing over either to Nathan or Miss Yareka, who now take 10 years anniversary of Anakazi. Well done, Anakazi. Cross over to you, Nathan.
Thank you. Excellent. Everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host here, taking over from Roger. Great discussion on tribal balancing with State Council Musa Mwenye. Our February is Black History Month, a celebration and recognition in the United States. And I thought that the Zambia Block Talk Radio, being a radio talk show based out here in North America, we could focus on that subject for this month, recognize and celebrate those that have achieved things, the people of color. I am your host, like Roger said. My name is Nathan Nkama, out of the great state and city of Dallas, Texas. My host is Yareka Muhango. She's the founder and the CEO of Anakazi Center. If you want to talk about regional tribal balancing, am I allowed to say that, Yareka? Yareka and I come from the same. Yareka and I are what? It's regional, whatever word you want to use. Welcome, Yareka. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sibweni. I call him Sibweni, so that's where we come, together, right?
Yeah, so Roger and everybody listening, Sibweni in our language is uncle, okay? So there you go.
I didn't
All
know
right,
that.
yeah, Sibweni means uncle in our beautiful language. Yareka, congratulations on 10 years of Anakazi. 10 years ago, I don't know whether let's begin this way. What motivated the formation of Anakazi? What was going on inside of you to come up with this?
I think, just 1 second. It's a lot of things. First of all, it was my own experiences as a female, growing up in Zambia, and being raised by so many different women, my aunties who contributed to my upbringing, and just being exposed to the different way that they did things. I had women who were career women. I was exposed to women who was just doing small businesses. But at the end of the day, all these women were doing something to put food on the table. They were able to educate their children and supplement to whatever their husbands were bringing home for the upkeep of the family. So I think that inspired me the most. And then just learning about women economic empowerment in general, I started just researching a little bit more and trying to see, what is it? What are the gaps that women face in growing a business? What is it that we can do? And this is when I was in grad school in California. And when we came back from Las Vegas from that conference, I was inspired to do more, and I went back to the drawing board, and I started drafting the mission 10 years ago, and here we are 10 years down the road. That's what really inspired me. It's just experiences, and then just seeing the needs, looking at the gaps, and that's how we came up with it.
Okay, before we engage Susan, Gladys, and Tamara, who are joining us from Lusaka. Hi, ladies, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, part of when I look at your website, Yarek, and the information that is on Anakazi Center, I see phrases like women economic empowerment. I want you to address that. And of course, we know that women, especially the African structure of the home, livelihood, economy, and all that, women do quite a bit. Talk about this women economic empowerment. That's a very strong phrase right there.
Right. So there's been different authors and organizations that have tried to define empowerment from their own perspective. So it will range from self-strength to efficiency building of women. It could be political, social, educational. But we decided to focus on economic empowerment because that's the bread and butter for most people, right? That's the biggest need at the moment. Because women need to be empowered enough to bring out their voices. So again, when we talk about empowerment, we're not trying to give power to women. They already have the power. We're trying to tap into that power so that we can expand it a little bit more and help them just to realize the strength that they have. So that's what we try to do. Even when we're going together as Anakazi, we're not saying Anakazi will give you this or give you that. We're saying, what will you bring to the table? Bring your strengths, bring your power. And then when we put it together as a collective I, then we're able to expand a little bit more. We're able to achieve more, and we're able to raise our voices a lot more than where we are right now. So that's really our focus. It's self-empowerment, but it's tapping into our own resources.
Okay, so let's do a little reflection on the past 10 years. What things would you like to highlight? What has taken place in the past 10 years, where you are now? What have been the challenges? What are the most memorable? What are the achievements? That's a whole bunch of stuff I've thrown at you.
Sure. So maybe I'll start from 10 years ago when we started, just thinking about what will we call this organization, right? How something that any woman can relate to. So it wasn't just about African or Zambian women. We're thinking, we're out here, what can we do? So I remember being invited over to speak at UCLA. And before then, I was trying to figure out, okay, the name of the organization, the concept. So this was going to be my test. So when I sat down and I looked at different words to mean women in our different languages, and speaking of tribal balancing, I tried Bemba, I tried different words that mean women, and finally settled at Anakazi. And the reason why I settled at Anakazi is because it's easy to pronounce, and anybody can look at it and say Anakazi. So we went to UCLA, and I spoke, and this American woman from the crowd just came looking for me and said, "Hey, are you from Anakazi?" So I said, "That's it. That's the name of it," because she can pronounce it, anyone can pronounce it. So that was the beginning. So at that point, we were talking about being a voice for Africa at that conference. So it was about speaking about women's issues. So I went there and I spoke about women, my sisters and mothers back home, and just pitched the Anakazi mission. And I got a good response from my fellow panel members and other participants. So from there, we started now looking at the needs. What are the needs that we need to focus on? So we focus on four main areas. One is business development. And within business development, we looked at mentorship. We looked at training, entrepreneurship training. We looked at developing a business from one stage to another. What are those processes? And then we also looked at access to finance. Most women have an issue with accessing finance. We looked at access to technology, which is a big issue then. So we just looked at the needs, the gaps, where the gaps were. So based on that, we focused, that's where we put our strategic planning efforts. We focused on those areas, including advocacy. If you remember, from August of 2011, we started the Anakazi show, the Voices of Anakazi, right here on Mozambique Blog Talk Radio. So in that show, we were highlighting issues that affect women, bringing in leaders to share their experiences, and these experiences would amount to some kind of mentorship to a young lady or young woman who is in our network who needs support in one way or the other. So those are the four main areas. So then we picked on access to information. Access to business development information was lacking amongst most women entrepreneurs. So we decided to create all these platforms online. We started off with maybe like 20 people, and those 20 brought other people. And then in the end, we have over 300,000 followers online. We have Anakazi site where people trade, both men and women trade using that platform. So we feel that men and women have been able to use the platforms to market their products, increase their capital, just branch off or test their products. So it's not tangible sometimes, but I think when you look at the activities that we've had on our platforms for the past 10 years, it's a lot. And if we were able to quantify that, that's a lot of impact that Anakazi has been able to deliver. And then we also have women in agriculture. That's another group. So there's about 10,000 women on that agriculture platform. Other people share information about their experiences. They share different tips on how to grow different products. We also used to have farm tours, and the women would go to different farms to learn how to grow different crops or rear cattle or goats, whatever it is that livestock that they choose to keep. So, and then we also have the boot camps. The boot camps, most of them have been online. And the idea with the boot camps is to train the young or the new entrepreneurs to grow a business from scratch. And that's a big issue with entrepreneurship. If you don't have your documentation in place, it's difficult for you to get financing from the bank. So we want to prepare entrepreneurs. So those are the key areas that we focused on in the past 10 years. But most of these activities were online. And it so happened that now that we have COVID, it's actually an advantage for us because we can continue with activities without really being distracted by the fact that we can't go to a particular office. However, over time, we also looked at the need for us to now bring those online activities to the ground. So recently in November, I was in Zambia. We went to launch the business incubator. And the business incubator is supposed to be like the next step after a young entrepreneur graduates from our boot camp. What is my next step? What do I do from there? We need to handhold them for a little bit. So we launched the business incubator in Lusaka. And the idea is that those who graduate now can stay there in our incubator for a period of 6 to 12 months where they receive mentorship, or they can also get our co-working space at discounted prices. So we do have a co-working space, we have a fashion studio, we also have another area for artwork or any other activity. So like right now, a group that graduated from the boot camp, they were developing an idea around agribusiness. So now they'll be using our office space to test their products. They're trying to make tomato paste and garlic paste. So instead of them paying out there, they're going to use our space because they graduated from our program. So in a nutshell, this is what we've done. But I get really excited just to see, especially the young people graduating from the program, and they stay in the program and they want to learn more, and they get the support they need to move to the next level. So that's where we are.
Okay. Before I switch to Nicole and the ladies in Lusaka, just very quickly, what has been the greatest challenge in the past 10 years?
The greatest challenge, I think initially it was just us being able to balance the online activities with the ground activities. We didn't have any office space. So everything had to be, we had to rent to provide training, which was a challenge. And just, coordinating things from a distance. I'm here, and then developing a team on the ground obviously was a challenge. So everything just led to us opening up the business incubator. And that's how we were able to resolve that. And the good thing is that even the team that's working now in the incubator are graduates from the business bootcamp. So it all just fell into place in the end.
Excellent. Nicole, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
How did you find yourself in this? What's the word?
Team Anakazi.
Team Anakazi, this family.
Team Anakazi, that's what you call it. Okay.
Yes.
So how did you get entangled with this Team Anakazi thing, and how did you connect yourself with this Tumbuka woman?
I'm telling you, it was through God. It was a connection. We met in an Uber, just communicating and talking during our travels. And from there, we exchanged information, like our phone numbers, and we stayed in contact. And during that time, Eureka came up with this ideal of being accountable to each other, like for any task that we have. So from there, we kind of started just calling each other on a weekly basis to talk about our ideas, our dreams, and then being held accountable by like putting some action into that to get the ball rolling and to see where it would go. And that's how we started talking about Anakazi, and it has grown from when we first connected. I want to say that was 3 years ago when we connected, Miss Eureka. And from there, I've been a part of an amazing community of people who want to see other women grow, and not just women, just people in general, grow in their craft. And Miss Eureka and her leadership has taken Anakazi and those that are a part of Anakazi to where it is today. And I'm just looking forward to the future, because I know it's about to blow up. # Team Anakazi. Remember that name.
Eureka for president 2020.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Nicole, before I switch to the ladies in Lusaka, you are using the word accountability.
Yes.
How crucial is that for anybody to succeed in anything you are doing in life?
I think it's extremely crucial, and it's needed. You need to have someone that's connected to you that you can trust, who can hold you accountable and call out those things that need to be called out, not as a negative, but as constructive criticism to help you grow. So when you have a circle of people who want to help you grow, you know that you can listen to what they're saying. It's wisdom. And when you listen to that wisdom and apply it, not only will you grow, but those that are around you will grow as well. There's this saying that if you're around broke people all the time, you're going to be broke yourself. So you want to be with people who know more than you, who are more advanced than you, so that you can grow. And then, we can break this cycle, and we can take people that are underneath us and pull them up as well from the leadership that we've gotten from those that, we trust. So accountability is key in any aspect of life.
That's true. Now, you just explained why I'm around Roger all the time, because Roger doesn't give up. Every time I felt weak and giving up on this radio show, Roger is like, no, we are not giving up. We keep pushing. That's why we are here for. That's right. Roger, Team Roger.
That's right. That's what we always say. That's what we always say. Me and Nicole, we say, we keep moving.
Yes. No
We
matter
keep
what it
moving.
looks
We keep
like,
moving.
you keep moving and you pull each other up, because it's
That's right.
temporary. It is not permanent. It's temporary, and now you'll have the strength to pull someone else up as well.
Excellent. You are listening to Zambia Blog Talk Radio. We are both live on Zoom and on our radio show. We're speaking to Yareka Muhango, the founder and CEO of Anakazi Center, with her team, Nicole Mackenzie, Susan Zulu, Gladys Mwamba, and Tamara Kumwenda. Let's go to Lusaka and speak to the ladies here in Lusaka. Who do we begin with? Gladys, hi. How's Lusaka today?
Hey, Lusaka is great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Tell to us about how you found yourself connected with Anakazi and what you do.
Okay, thank you so much. I first came in encounter with Anakazi through Facebook. I had posted through a Facebook comment, actually. Anakazi was advertising for their boot camp, for their mentorship boot camp. So I happened to comment on one. I was trying to find out what is it about, what kind of services are they offering. So then they asked, what kind of business do you have? And we are ready to develop your business and we are ready to help you advance your career. So I was interested. So I had to post what I was doing. And currently I am in plastic waste recycling. So I posted my pictures and I posted my picture and I did mention of what I'm doing. And the founder of the Anakazi contacted me and said, okay, well, I'll send you a link and you need to apply into our bootcamp and then we can pick it from there. And that's how I applied.
Go ahead.
Yes, I applied and I got accepted into the bootcamp. We had a 6 weeks bootcamp, a training. And after our training, we learned a lot of things, how to run your business. Is my business profitable? I just had a lot of things that I got from the bootcamp. And I have moved from step 1 and I can say I'm in step 5. I had a lot of networking. I met a lot of people and at this point I look at my business in a different wavelength from the way it was from the time from the time before I met Anakazi. So I am a 2020 graduate. Yes, I am a proud 2020 Anakazi graduate, by the way.
Excellent.
Yes,
I like the word you are using, different wavelengths. The other thing I've observed you've said is from step 1 to step 5. That's amazing. Listening to this. So you are in plastic waste recycling, and you get into this boot camp. I know you've used these phrases that I'm referring to. Just share 2 or 3 things that really, really stood out to you during this 6 weeks boot camp.
Okay, the very first thing that was like the top, like world class education that they gave it to us. Number 2, they gave to us the mentors from all walks of life in entrepreneurship from the USA. We were exposed to great mentors that are already in the business, and I had to learn a lot. These are people who are already established that we were given a chance to have a conversation with, to learn, ask questions. And number 3, I was able to be to pitch in front of the Ministry of National Development in Zambia. So they were all impressed to see my ideas. So I had to meet a whole lot of people through this platform. So you see, before that, I was just a little girl with this running. I didn't have that international platform or the national platform or other people to see my idea. But here I am, and I have got confidence to stand before anybody and pitch my ideas. You see, So you can see the difference in all of this.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes,
I
I
want
hope
you
I've
to
answered the
address.
question.
Yes, you have. Very well. I mean, I don't expect anything less when you hang out with Yarek and Nicole. I mean, you've answered it very well. Before I engage Tamara here, let's talk about plastic waste recycling. Explain to us what type of business that is.
Okay, so this business is mostly the community-based business. Yeah, we are mostly focusing on how we tackle the plastic waste in Zambia because it's a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a huge environmental problem. So we want to turn it into a form of an economic way, a form of where we can create employment, for a better word. So what we do is that we have what we do is that we have bulk collection centers in different districts where people in the community will pick the plastic waste, bring it to the collection center, and they get paid right there and then, and they rid themselves out of poverty. They can buy themselves food, pay rent, or take their children to school. And we take all this collected plastic waste to different companies. For example, Trade Kings is buying from us, Chinese companies are buying from us, just different, even a South African company are importing from us. So this is the kind of business that we are doing. And more so, there is also a woman who is making pavers out of plastic. So she's also part of our program. Part of the plastics that we have, we send it to her in Kitwe, and she's making pavers using the plastic waste, recycling them. Yeah.
Excellent. I like it when you say that the people that deliver these plastic waste to your centers get paid right there and then, and they are able to take care of things on their end. And like our senior advisor here, Dr. Patrick Wilson, has always told us, Zambia will only be developed by Zambians. Great stuff, Gladys. Great stuff. Hi, Tamara.
Thank you.
Hi.
Tamara, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. All right. So, Tamara, tell us how you got involved and how you found yourself connected with Anakazi. How did that happen?
All right. I was scrolling through Facebook, then I came across the ad. I decided to apply. At that point, I really didn't know what Anakazi was all about. But then I was like, it's during the pandemic. What am I doing home? Let me try something different. Let me enroll myself into this program. That's when I decided to apply. And to my surprise, I checked my email and I was accepted for the boot camp. Then we started the classes, which was so amazing. I was exposed to a lot of things. I'm a student, but then there are some things that we at school are not taught, especially business-wise. We're not taught how to pitch, how to write our business plans, and that's something that a business based on entrepreneurship needs to know. And Anakazi exposed me to all those things. Right now, I can confidently stand in front of a crowd and pitch my business idea without shivering or without being scared of what other people would think about me. So yeah, that's how I got myself into Anakazi.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you are in agriculture, right? What specific things are you doing with your line of business? We all know agriculture is a broad subject or a broad industry.
Oh, yes. As the agriculture group, we looked at the problem that we Zambians are facing here. I'm sure you're aware that most of the things that we eat in Zambia are imported. We do produce food stuff in Zambia, but we do not process them. So we decided to go the processing way. We looked at how we can help ourselves and at the same time help the farmers here in Zambia by creating a market for them, especially the tomato farmers, because 60% of tomatoes in Zambia every year are wasted. We looked at that and we were like, what can we do to help the farmers not make a loss? At the same time, we as well are benefiting from it. Well, we came up with processing the tomatoes into tomato paste. So we'll be buying our tomatoes from small subsistence farmers who don't have the market to sell those tomatoes. We'll be buying from them, then processing them into tomato paste. Right now, we're at the stage of testing our tomato paste so that we can provide the best quality to the people of Zambia.
Excellent, excellent. So how would you describe, apart from what you said, being able to stand before people and communicate about your business and what you're about, what would you say has been some of the benefits you connecting and working with Anakazi Center?
Okay, the most wonderful benefit that I've benefited from Anakazi is that they employed me. I'm maintaining with them. I'm the one in charge of coming up with business plans and strategic plans for Anakazi. I'm still in school, but yet interning with them makes me be exposed to the business world before I even complete my education. By the moment I'm done with my degree program, Anakazi already begged me to take up the business world. So it would be something easy and a walkover for me to adjust into the environment. Then the other thing is networking. I've made different and wonderful, powerful women who I can look at and say, okay, one day I want to be like her, or I want to do better than her because she's doing well for herself. Yes.
Excellent. You mentioned something about being responsible for, did you say business plans? So if somebody needs help with a business plan, are you able to help them with that?
Yes, they have already run me through all the necessary things that I need to know to write a business plan for someone. And right now I'm capable of doing that.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we'll be sending some business your way, and I'm sure Dr. Patrick is glad to hear this. All right, let's chat with Susan. Hi, Susan, how are you doing today?
Hello, how are you?
Doing great. How are things going at Anakazi Center? Yeah, Ms. Yareka tells me you run the office. Tell us about
Yes, I'm running the office on the program end, and everything is going on great, surprisingly. Everything is perfect at the moment.
All right, so what goes on at Anakazi Center? What kind of things go on? Somebody walks in, what would they expect?
Sorry, can you just repeat that? I just had a message.
I said, what sort of things going on at Anakazi Center? If somebody walks in, what would they expect?
Oh, well, we have people coming in for different reasons. We have people coming in to ask what Anakazi is all about. So being someone who programs, I run them through the programs that Anakazi is offering. As Ms. Yareka alluded to our mission and what programs and services we are offering at Anakazi. So I run them through, and then there are people that are interested in being part of the network. So I run them through, and then I tell them what the procedure for them to join the Anakazi network.
Okay. So is somebody listening to the show right now and they want to be part of the Anakazi network, what's the procedure, what's the process? What do they need to do?
Okay, so they need to first tell us what their interest is or what their needs are. Are they looking into business networking? Do they have a business idea? Or are they also looking into maybe workforce development? Maybe they don't really need a business to market themselves in the workforce environment. So from there, we pick it up first. We need to find out what their needs are, and then we know where to place them. Like in the last boot camps that we had women that were interested in different areas like agriculture, green business, and natural beauty, and other sectors. So we had to find out what their needs are and their interests are, and then from there we coordinate them with other women who are already other women and men who are already established in those business, and then we link them for mentorship and also provide training and access to markets as well as access to information.
Excellent, excellent. Give us an idea of what sort of programs that you talked about, programs and people wanting to, I want you to just very briefly go through what sort of programs you have at the center.
Okay, so currently the program that is running on a full capacity is our fashion program. So in our fashion program at the moment, we are making ready to go custom made outfits. So we have women who came and then they learned, and then they got some information, and then they're implementing that. So when people out there want to join our fashion program, we are going to create a package for training young entrepreneurs that are interested in the fashion program. So they come into the center, they are trained, and then if they want to take it up in different stages, first they get the information, then they get the skill, then they understand not only the fashion sense, but how to make money out of their fashion interest. Then we also have the agricultural program where women are coming together, like Ms. Yereka alluded to, our farm tours. So some people have the idea or the interest on entering the agriculture sector, but they don't know where to start from. So we have mentors like Ms. Grace Capital, one of our alumni in the Anakazi network. She's a hands-on person who provides information and hands-on experience for somebody to actually go to the farm and learn the skill hands-on, for them to understand which season to plant what and which available markets that are there for what crops in the farming program. Then we also have the green business program, the one that Ms. Gladys is under. So if we have women that are interested in the green business, they can as well come into Anakazi. And then we have the able and capable mentors, like the mentor that mentored the green business group, who's Mr. Billy, and as well as Gladys, who will come in hands-on to work with the people that are interested into going into green business, as well as other sectors that I haven't mentioned because they're a bit fast.
Excellent, excellent. That's a whole wealth of information, Susan. And it's if people want to get in touch with you or get in touch with the office, what's the information?
Okay, they can get us on our website, www.anakazi.org, and then we have information there on how they can get in touch with the office. But in Lusaka, our offices are found in Rhodes Park area, Broads Road, plot 4B.
Excellent. We shall be, I'm sure the people that are listening to the show and they'll be interested in whichever part of the world. I know Anakazi is a worldwide institution and organization, so they'll be able to get in touch with you. Great stuff, ladies. As we continue our discussion here, let me go back to our founder and everybody listening. Remember, this is the purpose we are doing this is in line with our recognition and celebration of Black History Month in the United States. And I think Anakazi deserves a place in that row of honor. Yereka, what's the difference between a business incubator and a bootcamp?
Sorry? Can you repeat your question, please?
What's the difference between a business incubator and a bootcamp?
Well, the bootcamp is just a training. which prepares someone to go into like an incubator. But you know, they can run together. They're for example, those who start out in the boot camp, they are better prepared to stay in an incubator because they understand exactly what they want to do. So it kind of, the boot camp more or less prepares someone for an incubator. So for example, Team Agriculture, they had no idea when they came into the boot camp. They got together, all they knew is that they're interested in agriculture business. They came up with an idea as a group, and they came up with a name. We helped them to define their business and just to be a little bit more specific, test it out and draft up a concept note. And then we prepared them to pitch. And after they pitched, they actually won the prize. Tamara didn't mention that. So they won 10,000 kwacha. And that 10,000 kwacha is supposed to help them in the business incubator. So now they're going to, they're registered in the incubator. They're going to start testing their product at our facility in Rhodes Park. So the incubator is supposed to last maybe 6 to 12 months. And the idea is not to keep people there forever. They're supposed to graduate to the next stage. And so if they stay more than a year, then we know we're not doing our job. So we need to make sure that we give them everything they need. And we also connect them, like others have already mentioned, we connect them to the right resources, whether it's ZDA, if they can help with the packaging, or if it's financing, which is connecting with the banks, or it could be just a mentor who is like a technical support who can guide them through the business plan and refining it. It's a whole process. And the whole idea, again, for the incubator is to subsidize some of the costs that entrepreneurs have to cough out in the first year of their business. It's not easy to start a business and sell and make money and be sustainable enough to pay for your rent. It's always difficult. So we try to subsidize that. And this is why the team agriculture and team recycling, they can always come to our office and do everything they need to do, at least for the next 12 months. And then after 12 months, they leave room for the other one, the new entrepreneurs who are coming behind them.
Both Gladys and Tamara have referred to access to finance. How is that looking in the Zambian scenario, Yareka, considering the environment we are in, the pandemic?
I think there's been a flood of alternative financing on the market, which is village banking and other structures that we've seen, microfinancing, microlending. But then I think at some point there was so much access to that kind of lending that people really encumbered themselves so much that they were unable to pay back, because you know, you can only pay back with the resources. I mean, if you have a good cash flow from your business, but if your business is not established enough and you're trying to pay back so much money, it's very difficult to keep running. In the end, you pack up your business and you give up. So this is why we keep people in our incubator, and we just providing that accountability that Nicole mentioned. We talk to them, we say, okay, do you have to spend all that money? And those are conversations I have with Tamara and her team. Okay, you want 10,000 kwacha, but do you have to spend it now? Or do you just spend a little bit of it and then start refining your idea, and then, and then later on look for more money? So I think if you have a good idea and you have documented properly, you do have access to finance, because banks are more willing to work with you, or investors are willing to put some extra money in your business, knowing that you're a little bit more responsible than just someone coming out with a brand new idea and they don't have anything in writing. It's good to have an idea, but if it's in your mind, it's not documented, it's not going anywhere. So I think this is why we need to have these incubators. The model itself is very difficult to manage, because we are not a funded organization, but we're relying a lot on sponsors or partners who are available to help these young women and men who are going to come through our business incubator. So it's a balance from our end.
Okay. Let me make this comment before I throw the question to you. Of course, you can't save the whole world, okay? And no matter how good anybody's intentions are, I'm saying this to ask this question. Your office is based in Lusaka, Zambia. I don't know how much work are you doing outside of Zambia, outside of Lusaka. I'm talking about the rural woman.
Okay, so our initial concept was first to set up the shop in Lusaka, an office, like a central place. Everybody stops there at the end of the day. That's like the headquarters or the financial headquarters in general. Then we start working on connecting women in the rural parts of Zambia. So one of the areas we've been looking at is Anakazi Kumawa. We call Anakazi Kumawa for Eastern Province. There's a lady out there, her name is Miriam, who started out to see if she could open up a chapter in Chipata area. And then that way, that opens up like a path or a connection to women who are in agriculture in Eastern Province. And they would now provide their, send their produce out to women in our network in Lusaka. So that's like opening up markets for women in the rural parts of Zambia. Then we also have the Copper Belt. We've been talking to some ladies from the boot camp, again, Gladys and some other friends of hers from the boot camp, Patience Muila, and another lady, Lydia. So they're interested in opening up something on the Copper Belt. So that's another connection to the Copper Belt. So I think it's step by step. And like you said, we can't save the whole world, but I think one woman at a time works. So we're looking at one city at a time, wherever we have women, especially those coming out of our boot camp. It's much easier for us to sell the concept and the mission through those who've experienced it than those that are coming in randomly.
Excellent. We are celebrating Black History Month, looking at the achievements of people of color, if you wish to use that expression, Africans or Black people. Next week, I'll be speaking to Dr. Joseph, is it in Kolola, Yareka?
Kolola, yes.
Yes. Next week, Roger, I'll be speaking to Dr. Joseph Nkolola. He's part of the team. You have all heard that Johnson & Johnson has come up with a vaccine for the COVID-19. He's part of the team that did the work on that vaccine. So he's the one I'll be talking to next week. People of color have done quite a bit of achievements and the contributions here. I don't know if you have any comment, Roger, or question anybody who has called in before Yareka winds this up with what is next for the next 10 years for Anakazi Center. I need to commend you, Yareka. You've stayed the course. In America, there's a TV show called Survivor. And is Nico still here? I used to like watching that show because I like things to do with endurance. It's endurance, You have to stay the course. Nicole, you are in the U.S. with Yareka. How are things looking like for Anakazi? How are things looking like for Anakazi on this part of the world?
Oh, things are looking great. We have some plans and processes in place. So stay tuned and look out because Anakazi is not only in Zambia, but we're going to make a difference right here in the United States as well.
That's right. How proud does this make you, Nicole? Here's a young, I can call her young. Here's a young African woman who is just giving herself to do what she's doing. I mean, listening to what Susan, Gladys, Tamara, and all the people out there who are not on this show will be able to say what Anakazi has done in the past 10 years. How does that make you feel, Nicole?
It makes me feel extremely proud. I mean, to be able to talk to anyone, my peers, my family, and say, like, I am a part of an organization, a family that gives back. And I can truly mean that. It's just not something that's said because it sounds good, but it's something that I can back it up. And I have our students, Eureka, everyone that can come and say, yes, like because of Anakazi, I've been able to, grow not only within myself, but my business as well. So that makes me feel proud. And I'm just, words can express like how I really feel just to be a part of Anakazi and to know Eureka, and to hear her dreams and passions for what she wants to do and to live it. I want to tell the world.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. I mean, that's why when we were planning on working on this, one of the first people that came to my mind, I said, I need to do this with Eureka. Dr. Pat, are you there before we finish here? Roger, by the way, good job on this Zoom thing. I think I need to be, it takes me a bit of time to adjust to things, but I like this.
Eventually, we have to.
Yes,
yeah, Dr. Pat.
I am with you. Yes, I am with you.
Yeah, Dr. Pat, I want you to comment the same question that I threw to Nicole here. Why is it important for us to do this, to celebrate ourselves, to cheer ourselves on?
It's important when we apply ourselves to our own business. It does tell with the brother who came out with the fashion name of FUBU, for us, by us. And whenever you do something and you're doing it for yourself and for your people and for your family, it gives you a sense of strength. And I was continuously smiling throughout the program, and I'm loving all my sisters doing outstanding work.
Excellent. Yeah, it's crucial. Okay, let's finish.
Hi, Dr. Patrick. So good to hear from you. Been a long time.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hey, if we can, sometime in the not too distant future, I would like to refine. I was very pleased to hear about the business plan, talking about the business plan, but I would like to refine it to a degree in the not too distant future, so that we won't run into the I call them many problems of not getting funded or running out of resources and money. And if we refine the business plan, we won't run into that problem as much.
Excellent. Alan, very quickly, you want to say something before we finish with Eureka here?
Yes, I just wanted to say I am so extremely proud to know Eureka, of course, and then the work that she's doing. It gives me a sense of pride. We come from Chingola and Papa Kopala, and just to see her, even when the last time I talked to her, she's very, very encouraging. She gave me some valuable advice, and on the business front, what she's doing is pretty much my passion. I can do stuff like she's doing for nothing, but it's so important because we are reaching out to other people that don't have any other means of hope. That once your help that you're giving to them, it's help that they can't just find anywhere, and help that, quite frankly, a lot of us do need to be able to call on you, someone who's already started. I don't need to go through all the steps that you've been through, but I can call on a person like you and say, how do I do for your organization? Or some of my people back home. I've been thinking of several people. I say I should just send them to Anakazi instead of me sending them money and they don't know what they're doing with it. Exactly.
Let's send them to Anakazi. I mean, it's Susan will take care of them. They are competent people here.
Absolutely.
Eureka, let's finish this. Okay, the next 10, 20 years, Eureka, 10 years now, how does the future look like? What's the future outlook?
So we've been talking about Vision 2030. It's still a baby. It's still in the incubator, refining, trying to figure out which direction to go. But the first step was this business incubator accelerator approach, where we start, producing real entrepreneurs that are going to grow big businesses. And from there, we see at least 10 years' time, we should see a lot more women own businesses that are financed in various sectors. Not just agriculture and gas. We need everybody out there to grow. I think we've spent the past 10 years just trying to boost the communication around business, trying to encourage people to even dream about their ideas and grow them. But now it's implementation. So the next 10 years, we're going to focus on making sure that we're building real businesses. Nicole and I keep saying, hey, this year we need to raise $1 million. We need to raise $1 million.
Yes, we will.
So we start speaking to ourselves in that way. And then we expect the same with all the other entrepreneurs that we're working with. The next 10 years, I should see at least, hundreds of big women-owned businesses out there, not just in Zambia, but even here in the US. We're trying to empower each other out here too.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, remember, this is my final question. I promised you I'd ask you this question, right? You remember that?
Yes.
We are celebrating Black History Month. Okay. Which Black or African person of color has been of influence and you have admired in your life?
Well, there's so many, but I think recently, in the spirit of women economic empowerment, I watched a movie on Madam C.J. Walker, and I was amazed at what she was able to do. She was a self-made millionaire. She started from scratch, working from her house, selling hair products. And she had a model that we see every day. It's women empowering each other. She had women working for her, and she had to make business decisions which were tough for her at the time. Do you go with a big company? Do you stay with your local producers? Do you take away business from other women, or do you work with them so that they can also grow? She had problems with accessing finance, like every one of us today. She had problems talking to people who could give her money. Pitching, we're talking about pitching. So sometimes you just walk up in a hall where a group of men are talking and she just wants to pitch her idea. So we're talking about confidence. So it's little things today. We're saying, oh, now I can pitch. It's a big deal because this is the same thing that other entrepreneurs faced, like Madam C.J. Walker. And I was able to follow up and see, oh, what happened to her legacy? What happened? I saw that one of her grandkids was trying to keep it alive, reviving it. And it just made me think about the need for us when we plan our ideas. They have to outlive us. They have to go beyond us. And we have to detach ourselves from the founder's syndrome, where it's only you running the show, because if you die, everything dies with you. So I think that's really empowered me to start thinking about Anakazi in a different way. So I'm very grateful to have a team, Nicole, Susan, Gladys, Tamara. It's just everybody who's putting in their efforts to grow Anakazi beyond me and, create a platform for other women.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that was our first in the series of celebrating Black History Month. My guest was Yareka Mhango. She's the founder and CEO of Anakazi Center. And we were also joined by Nicole Mackenzie, who's part of the team. Tamara Kumwenda, Gladys Mwamba, Susan Zulu, joining us from Lusaka from the Anakazi Center office. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to Yareka and the team, congratulations on your 10 years. And we applaud you.
Thank you.